Yeah.
But here we go. We're going to go straight into it. Hopefully everything works. I haven't played this game on this computer for about 2 months, so
Yeah, I'll have a look to check the sound.
I think the sound is fine. It looks fine on OBS, but you guys will have to tell us if it's not not perfect. But yeah, India versus Russia, a matchup we've seen quite a lot actually.
Yes, it used to be a really played matchup on the NWC tournament, I think.
Yeah, and the EPL we saw it like an incredible amount of time because of all the no TP
Yeah,
maps. No TP maps
yeah,
have been
that's true.
taken out though, so it's not as common. But it's still pretty even matchup. I think Russia's slightly easier to play, maybe, but overall it should be pretty equal between the two players. So on the left here we have King Richard in the red color, and it is a food start which is good for Russia. And India obviously likes that wood start, but unfortunately for Dennis, he doesn't get it.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate. Although food stop is also fine as it is since you can age a bit faster.
Yeah, and obviously the what's it called? The treasures here matter quite a lot. There's 70 food getting uh, taken by King Richard as he snipes the last treasure. 70 food being especially nice for Russia. You get less of a idle time of about 14 settler age up, and 90 coin going to be taken by Dennis, which is sort of useless in the first stage, but obviously you can use as India to produce some units or get the market upgrades quicker.
Yeah, definitely something to get if you go for, yeah, as you said, market tags, or it's just enough coin for Minutemen really. So if you need to pop Minutemen early on because you misplay your defense or something, that's also liable.
Yep. If I just alt tab out here just to turn you up slightly.
Ah, lovely, thanks.
There you go. Sorry about that if it lagged in game. I can't really do anything about that. But yeah, as you said, you can get Minutemen out early, and Russia obviously ages slightly faster than India normally, which is quite nice if you can get the Minutemen out, and maybe you can lame the blockhouse if you wanted to, but I doubt Dennis would do that. But he's going to pick up 40 coin as well, and King Richard, I don't think he's picked up anything else. He's picked up 30 coin. If we shall look at the decks of the players as well. That's an interesting deck actually, King Richard's deck.
Let's have a look at that. Yeah, quite an H2 deck, I could say. Not much option in H3, so probably gonna play this in H2 for King Richard.
Yeah, and at the same time, Dennis's deck, she's pretty standard for India. You do have those Tiger Claws, which you sometimes don't see, but they're quite nice against Russia, especially, seeing as Russia tend not to have the best anti-cav options, because their musketeers are very weak. And I think they're actually even weaker in... no, they're not weaker in EP, they're exactly the same. So, yeah, it's sort of standard decks from both players, but... there's a Tomahawk getting picked up by King Richard, which have been changed, haven't they, recently?
Yeah. They have a negative multiplayer in H1 versus heroes and fields.
They can still snare, can't they? Because obviously the Tomahawk's 5 speed, so it can catch up with the elephants. I
Yeah,
believe it can
yeah,
at least.
definitely.
And 100 food actually for the Indian player, so he's going to probably get a slightly faster age up. He's going to go, I assume that's the Agri Fort and base.
Uh, that's so nice for India, really. So he's staging at the same time as Russia, basically.
Yeah, and he's obviously India does get the two sepoys come up straight away, and the villagers for Russia are pretty late here. They are going to come out to the middle of the map. But if you can look at this line which comes off, which we've been gifted by the great work of I think it's Kevsoft on the UI here.
Sweet.
Yeah, he's going to put his villagers down. Probably as further as he can go here with these into a middle, which is relatively close to India's base. But at the same time, because of his map and because of India not needing the food, they don't need to go out their base. So it's not as if he's playing against Brits or something where he can defend and keep the hunt away from them. And to be honest, India doesn't mind if they're that close. Obviously, Russia is the one who wants to push out here and be quite aggressive, but at the same time. That blockhouse is pretty late, and the age up for India is going to come in really quite quickly.
Yeah, a bit late of Black House. King Richard also overgathered a bit of wood, which is not ideal.
And it does get spotted via Agrithorpe, but to be honest, as expected. And there is that tomahawk in Dennis's base, but because of that malice against them, it doesn't do any damage. So Dennis can just keep his units out there, and it's probably going to die from the two tomahawks coming out. Although that villager is half HP, so you want to move it quickly. There you go, it's moved.
Yeah.
It's going to get shot down.
I'd love to see some wars from Dennis, like between the market and the Diagra, and then between the market and the gold mine. So giving you such good defense for like 20 wood.
Yeah, and you can put the house in the middle as well and sort of act as a piece of wall, can't you? And connect between the two, which Dennis maybe should have done, but I don't know, maybe he's going to do it. He's got the two sepoys out, and that blockhouse is only just built. He does spot it with his elephant, which is quite nice. If we look at the line of sight for both players, neither players actually scouted the top, which actually isn't too unlikely. Most of the time they don't really do that.
If you can as India, then you definitely want to scout the top because you can get the CDV quite easily.
Yeah, because it's what is it? Where is it? Yeah, it's only black bears, and these are basically just walls, so you can stun two of them, and because of the area damage, it takes it quite easily. But there's a number of strelets coming out. The first batch, 13 strelets being the first shipment, which is interesting actually, especially because of the Gurkhas here from Dennis. He hasn't gone sepoy. Normally you go sort of 5 sepoy as the first batch of units in this matchup, but the Gurkhas have no problem against the strelets at all, and they have to go back. And these musketeers are sort of useless.
Strelets, like 13 strelets opening for several reasons. Obviously, Gorkas will outrange them. Hagerford will do damage and they share defense as well.
Yeah, normally what you do is as Russia here is you'd go sort of maybe a batch of 10 strelets, or even just a normal 5 musketeer, 5 Cossacks. And the 13 shot it doesn't seem as useful. Obviously, it's not as resource efficient as sending that 5 Cossack card, which is actually one of the best H2 cards in the game. I was saying that King Richard does pull back. He does have a decent massive units now. He does have another 5 musketeers coming out. So a couple of sours coming out probably wouldn't do too much. But the concert is now going to go down for Dennis, and because he's got the Canvassarai, this Indian stable here, he can get out some sours of his own. 700 food comes in for who's that? King Richard, which is just going to pump out more and more Strelet production. But saying that, I think India's completely fine here. And normally Russia wants to pressure quite early and stop India getting that economic lead and getting the mass up of H2 units that they can do and just demolish the Russian front. But unfortunately, that's not the case here.
Yeah, you really want to make damage with Russia in this matchup early on. King Richard seems to be for quite a non build, 700 food, and he doesn't have a market. He's got a TP though, which is something good, but
yeah, and if you look at how many Gurkhas he now has, it with those elephants as well, he probably can get the Minutemen out maybe as well if he can just collect up. But Russia's mass does nothing here. The Gurkhas just trade so well.
Yeah, too many Gurkhas too much. Although Dennis needs to kite a bit and uses elephants to tank.
Yeah, and there you go, there's the sentries going to come up, which are going to snare. That's all they need to do there. And the 2 elephants are probably going to come forward. A batch of 5 Gardner Hussars coming out from the 300 export with Diplomatic Intrigue. If he can get on top of it, they just clean up. Those 5 musketeers do a little bit of damage, but they're getting picked off. And yeah, I think this is sort of King Richard's game to lose. Although 5 Cossacks do come in, which are going to defend against the Gardner Hussars. And there's no sepoy and no anti-cav. He has used the Minutemen as well. So there's the extra regulars coming out, but those 5 Cossacks, I think really he should pressure him, shouldn't he? Surely King Richard. He doesn't want to get back here. He's going to lose all his units.
Yeah, it's just looking so good for India. Got away with 600 food and 300 exports without taking any damage, and that was just trading so well in their STC.
Yeah, and the aggro doing damage constantly as well, and you can look at the eco population. It's about equal now because India hasn't sent any strong cards, and there's 4 sours coming out, so this is a big push with 5 sepoys. And he's almost certainly going to be able to take out that blockhouse now, which is really Russia's advantage in this matchup. And unfortunately for King Richard, he has had a TP down, but he is roughly equal. Actually, you're saying that he's about 40 seconds behind Dennis. But with those sours now coming out, he can definitely push that blockhouse, and Russia's on the back foot here.
Yeah, definitely. KingRichard is also floating 500 wood right now. Could be a second blockhouse and market and some market upgrades.
And there's 4 Cossacks coming out. Those sepoy are quite far away, so those Cossacks are going to be doing quite good damage to the Gurkhas. Maybe Dennis wants to get back here, actually, not push so much, but if he can get some good Moko in here, he should be fine. There's only a couple of musketeers on the Russian side.
Taking his similar sepoy, yeah, he's doing it right now. The Kanye West is always, although he did a pretty good job at focusing the musketeers with the Gurkhas.
Yeah, and 5.
Straight,
Yeah, 5 more sepoys are going to come in as well. So
yeah.
even those Gurkhas could probably kill the Cossacks at this point. And there's not going to be any more Cossacks coming out from the Russian player because there's no stable, and there's the GG coming in from King Richard there.
Yeah, this is KingRichard last 10 really. He cannot produce more than 5 units at a time. He's got only 1 blockhouse.
So he's basically trickling out units which should die. So there's Dennis taking the first game. Probably somewhat to be expected, really, because of the difference in skill between the 2 players. But yeah, I don't really like the 13 Strellet push at the start there. I just don't think it makes any sense because you don't capitalise anything off of it.
I think it was more of a macro problem for KingRichard and being a bit too all in as well.
Yeah. So we're getting to the next game. I forgot what map it is on. Is it Colorado?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So let's get straight into the next one. I mean, there's no reason to delay at all, really. Especially with I believe there's a game after this, maybe, but it might be much later, like Sampu versus Jokalu or whatever his name is.
I think they're playing tomorrow, though.
Are we playing tomorrow instead?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess this is our last game, and or maybe last 2 games. I don't know. Maybe this will go 3-2. No, 2-1 even. But Colorado is Dennis's first to pick, and Dennis has a decent amount of civs he can play. Ottoman is incredibly strong versus Russia, and as I said, King Richard is known for playing Russia, so he probably will green him with the same civ again.
I'm curious to know what Dennis is going to play. If you really expect Russia from King Richard, he could go Germany, which is okay on this map. Not the greatest German map, but still a decent pick versus Russia.
Yeah, you can go Sue as well, which is obviously this is one of Sue's best maps, I think, really, because of how big it is and the treasures on it. You said Germany, but obviously there's only 1 coin mining base, I believe, on this map, so probably not the best choice. Although it can be done. I think he's ready. But King Richard, by the way, is actually greening up with Russia, although he doesn't actually have to pick yet, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's just on Dennis to pick. As I said, he's got quite a few options to pick from Germany. Ottoman, I know he plays quite a lot. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's China from Dennis, actually. That's quite peculiar, because if you knew that King Richard was going to play Russia, surely it would have been better to play a civ which is going to be able to counter. But Dennis is quite well known for playing China, maybe, as sort of a major bracket he's in. and we should be ready to go with King Richard greening in as Russia.
Yeah, it's good to see some China from time to time. I don't think we've seen that much of China in this tournament just yet.
Yeah, they've sort of been nerfed, haven't they? Well, even nerfed or buffed, it depends what the crate start is, because obviously as China, you used to get a fixed crate start of 300 wood each time, and I think it's 300 wood, 200 food or something, which was really powerful if the opponent got a weak start, like a coin start or something. But that's been changed. They can get all the different starts, but it does mean they can get 300 wood, 300 food, which is incredible as a start. You can get that early TP up, and you can get everything you want. And by the looks of it, it is a coin start, which is probably the worst start for China. They do get 300 food though instead of 200 food, which is quite nice. And Dennis does get the 40 wood base, which is beneficial to him.
Yeah, he's also got a coin treasure, so I think we should mock it here. And depending on his scouting, you might see that as well.
Yeah, the 90 wood treasure, which is nice from the Cougars. I think there's a 110 wood or 100 wood, 95 wood as well here for the Grizzly Bears. And yeah, but didn't that used to be 110 wood, that Cougar treasure, I believe? Or something like that?
What is King Richard working on? He's taking his bear treasure. It's pretty good. He costs like 27 times 3 versus Treasure Guardian. Just insane. You can get all the treasures on this map.
Yeah, it's a bit. It ends up being basically a hussar in the next age, doesn't it? It's just incredible. I look at it.
Yeah.
And obviously you can use it to scout as well. It does have a decent radius around it. I think it's about the same as the Chinese monk, Chinese disciple even. And he does even spot the Nootka treasure, which used to be the best treasure on the map, I believe, or one of the best treasures on the map, but it has been nerfed, as I said before.
Yeah, it's still got the speed and still doing 5 damage a swing versus heroes, which is not bad. But yeah, obviously not as good as before.
No, and Dennis does pick up 30% HP treasure actually on his Chinese monk there. So even in age 1, it has 585 HP. That thing is a beast, especially now it has cover mode back. And he does find the 95 wood as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if he brings it back. Yeah, you can see from the line he's going to bring it back. At the same time, King Richard's going to pick up a wolf pup, which is, I think, that's like 15 damage times, oh no, it's going to be 9 times whatever. So he's going to have quite an army in age 2 here, just to pick up, age 1 even, to pick up treasures. And
yeah. Unfortunately for him, the best treasures kind of spawn on the other side of the map.
Yeah. Which isn't good. But he's going to pick up Nootka. Yeah, that wolf does... if you just times it by 3, it does what? 9 times 3 is 27, so... And I don't know what... It's going to be what? 25 times 3 is 70.
3 times less than the bear, basically.
That bear does insane damage. It's like 80 damage a hit. It nearly one-shots those wolves. But he's actually doing this wrong here. He should just use the bear to tank. Or even the wolf to tank, because it has a lot of HP. Or even his explorer to tank and just use the 2. Like he used the macaque on.
Is fine. It's just gonna destroy these wolves, really.
Yeah, which yeah, maybe it's fine. But he's gonna pick up that Nootka, and there is 2 stray sheep, which is sort of lacking as a treasure in the middle here. And he does have 50 food and base, which he probably should have picked up earlier. His age up is really slow, actually. Is he? Yeah, he's going for a 17 villager age up, which is interesting. Normally, in Russia, you go 14 because 17 always seems a bit weak, doesn't it? Especially now, it's sort of got onto the meta where you only ever do 14 in every matchup. So I'm slightly confused by 17.
Yeah, that's interesting. Perhaps you would go for some kind of timing this time. Perhaps you can create first and trying to right-click China when they try the age.
Yeah, but even then, if you go up with the what is it? The palace, not palace. I've completely forgotten what it's called actually. What is it called? The Skirmwander, whatever it's called, the Confucian Academy. If you go up the Skirmwander, the Strelitz and whatever, and you send 9 pike as you age up, you can defend relatively easily against the pressure from Russia. Especially if you're aging up so much quicker, because by the looks of it, Dennis is going to get his TP up now. and he's although he is chopping a lot of wood, which indicates to me that he's going to play age 2.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting build from
And a bit of,
Dennis. I guess he's going to drop the War Academy as soon as possible when he reaches H2.
yeah, and obviously, actually, H2 China isn't really that weak. You have 07 Step Riders, which are pretty naff as units go, but you do have 10 Rattan Shields for 500 coin, which I know Amigo sometimes likes to use and just pop out from a wonder and take on an unexpected opponent. But yeah, those 8 True Canoes and the 9 Quang Pikemen are really strong as H2 units. And if Russia's being so slow and his forward villagers are here for some reason, I don't know why, that doesn't seem like the closest place to the Dennis's base. Normally you'd have your villagers here and sort of build a blockhouse in the middle, but he's by the looks of it going to build one off to the side, which doesn't make too much sense.
Perhaps you want to target the Chinese TP.
Yeah, but he's standard army from Dennis is actually going to pop out, and from the population as well. He's no, actually that's just normal population. He hasn't. Dennis has sent 700 wood, and I think he's probably sent another shipment directly afterwards. He just got one. There's the Chukunu and there's the Quang Pikemen coming out. So we're probably going to see 5 Cossacks. I'd be very surprised if we didn't, but they're just really late, which isn't good at all.
I wonder if he's going to go Cossacks here.
He's building a stable. And there's the 5 Musketeers in queue as well.
Yeah, he's popped, but at 25 right now. So yeah, 700 coin. Yeah, I was expecting this kind of stuff, just shipping crates and massing, and going for a Tommy instead.
Again,
Dennis is like patrolling in the middle of the map, looking for the blockhouse and being ready to kind of rush the blockhouse, but you won't find anything here.
Yeah, and there's 9 pikemen. Although 9 pikemen, if he does find the stable over here, he can take down very quickly. And he does. Does he spotted it? I don't know, but yeah, fighting Frenchman or the ear, which everyone knows him on the known sort of for spamming ESOC with random crappy nonsense, basically, has donated 10 subs to everyone in the chat. So a little thank you. Actually, I think was it Headkiller donated a lot of subs earlier as well, which is nice of him. And obviously he's donated a huge amount for the tournament, which is incredibly nice. But that market's going to go down for King Richard, although I don't think it matters because he's got the 2 important upgrades already, Still Traps and Placer Mines.
Yeah, he's getting quite greedy. I just wonder what the 700 coin first is about. If you're going to follow that by 700 wood, doing the opposite would actually make more sense.
Yeah.
Now he's basically floating this wood and not doing much with that.
Yeah, and at the same time, he does have a couple of Cossacks there, and Diplomatic Infantry does come out for Dennis, so he's going to have a batch of Musketeers out more than likely, or even Cossacks. I don't know what he's going to do with it. But yeah, I mean, look at this army of Chukunu here. A decent amount from Dennis here. If Dennis can find the blockhouse and the stable here, is this just game over, surely, from King Richard, with the amount of units he has?
Yeah, he's going really heavy Cossack, and then he's got a lot of anti-cav, basically, and it doesn't seem that King Richard got enough infantry to just challenge these Chukunu.
Yeah, and honestly, what does this blockhouse really achieve here? It doesn't really do anything. It's just sort of just sitting there in the middle, and the benefit it gives is null, really. It defends what? To a gold mine and not even a hunt anywhere, and doesn't stop Dennis from doing anything which he wants to do. And these 10 Cossacks...
Oh, okay.
Dennis is just dropped. Actually, those units aren't that bad anymore. I mean, the against Strelitz they're incredible because of the they don't have the heavy infantry tag anymore, do they? So they do decent damage, and that blockhouse is going to go down incredibly quickly. A batch of Cossacks do come out, so if King Richard can micro this, he might be okay. Although saying that,
you have to micro really well if you want to take a good trade. He's got a lot of cav. There's a ton of anti-cavalry.
Yeah, and a couple more disciples do come out, which are decent actually against these units here. And yeah, I fucking Grenadiers just shooting at the back there.
That's quite funny.
And these Cossacks are just on the units they don't want to be. They're on the Step Riders up here. Although saying that, most of the Step Riders are down now, and not Step Riders, most of the Cossacks are down. Although the Step Riders do come in, and they are a bit of a meat shield here, even if they aren't the best units. Another batch of 5 Cossacks do come out though, and they do have Boyars on them, those units, so they are quite powerful.
I think Dennis has to run here.
Yeah, Dennis might be in trouble here. Those young guards aren't as useful as they seemed, but
Yeah, I mean 6 red coats would just, I mean, so much better here.
yeah, if you had 6 red coats, you would have cleaned up already, which is the funny thing about it. Although those young guards are at least buying some time for themselves, which is nice.
The splash damage, just killing animals.
Yeah, but 2 more Step Riders do come in, so they might be able to save him. Yeah, I think he's going to be fine here. Although, saying that...
He spent like 3 great achievements already that he has in HQ to defend, basically, and he's nowhere close to age. So...
And even a second war academy coming down, and by the looks of it, he's just going to be pumping out the standard army, maybe. He is close to the export he needs for the crates. I think he just did get a crate. If we look at text being researched, yeah, the coin crate is going to come out. But I don't think Dennis is going to age anytime soon. He does have a nice mass of Chukunu. He doesn't have the upgrade card in age through, which you'd normally see if you mass Chukunu and you age up. But yeah, I mean, if King Richard can just pump out a couple of Cossacks, or to have 10 or 15 Cossacks, he can just wipe his army pretty easily.
Yeah, I think what he wants right now is Stradettes and Cossack. He can still send 13 Stradettes, but no, he's going to go for 5 Cossacks instead, which is also a really big achievement.
Yeah, and because of that, he does have, if we look at military units here, he does have 14 Cossacks in total. Dennis even now making the, I forgot what the army's even called, the one with the...
This is a good decision, really. He's got a lot of Chukunu, so what he needs for now is just purely anti-cap.
Yeah, and Keshiks actually aren't even that bad as anti-cav. They do have range resist. They are pretty squishy with only 110 HP, and they do only have 12 range. But
yeah, I guess they're kinda okay.
They're not awful, but yeah, I mean,
they're just weaker than Zams, basically, so they just die to anything that shit at them.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's got quite a nice mass of Chukunu, as I said, so making that army is probably the right decision. He does get a couple of Quang pikemen out with him as well, which are okay units in their own hand. They're not amazing, they're not terrible, but what can Dennis really do? Maybe Dennis is, I think he's collecting for the Rattan shields, actually, to send those.
Ah, that would make sense, yeah.
Which they're not amazing Rattan shields. They're pretty good versus sort of skirmisher type units, but obviously Cossacks are cavalry, so they sort of demolish them. But
yeah, it's funny that King Richard is going basically full Cossack. He's calling the Minutemen as well.
Well, King Richard, though, he's going to have a big push here. They're saying that there is another batch of those Keshiks coming out, and if we look at military units here, 12 Keshiks. I mean,
I don't think. Yeah, Keshin plus pikes and a few steppies. I mean, this is just Chinese fight, really.
Yeah, I think he's fine here.
And he's just moving everything on the anti-cav. Just his infantry is not even in the battle just yet. And I mean, he wasted so many Cossacks before taking the engagement.
Yeah, exactly. Which obviously isn't very good at all. And these Minutemen, which he called, are probably a bit of a waste now. They're just going to die so quickly, especially to the Chukunu, which have faster firing than other units. Although a couple more Cossacks do come in the back here, and there's not many pikes left. Yeah, although saying that the 10 Rattans cleans up, even if he loses all of his Chukunus, he's fine. Yeah, I mean, this surely is over.
Yeah, this is pretty much GG. China still have a lot of units remaining, and
yeah, China still has those 10 Rattans, which probably roughly about the same as the Step Riders there. So he probably has about 50 unit population or 20 or 40 unit population, and Russia has nothing except a couple of Cossacks. Doesn't even have a he does have a blockhouse, but it's quite far away. And he's not producing any units. A couple of units, villagers isn't going to go down here. The Step Riders are faster as well, so they're going to catch up and just snare them constantly. A couple of Cossacks do come out, but I don't know what Dennis is doing here. He's just okay.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis is just trying to finish this, I guess. You could also just play it safe and send another coin right now and just go.
Yeah, I think Dennis is just ready to finish the game really here. A couple of those Cossacks do take a bit of damage maybe. And those Strelets. You could just push him with the Vat and Shields here, surely. With the Disciples as well behind, doing a decent amount of damage. And yeah, this is just over completely. He might get a batch out as well. He's going to have, yeah, well, looks like he's going to have 5 Cossacks popping as well from the thing behind. But yeah, there's too many units here for Russia, for China.
Yeah.
And there's the GG coming.
GG.
And I don't think he's going to resign. I think he's going to wait until his Cossacks die, maybe, to resign. But
yeah, the last 10.